Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another Qualifier Play-In Event. This is going to be a best of one Foundation Sealed event, where the end goal is getting 6 wins before 2 losses. That is how you get entry into the upcoming Qualifier Weekend, where a nice long undefeated run can get you into the upcoming Arena Championship as well as Pro Tour events. So you can qualify for some really big events off of this event, which is pretty cool. And you can get in whatever way you want with gems, gold, or the way that I'm going to join in, which is play-in points. You get 20 play-in points in any season where you hit top 1500 Mythic. So this is a great event for players like me who draft enough that they always end up in top 1500 Mythic to turn those play-in points into gems that we can run in any other event. So done pretty good so far. Last time getting 6,000 gems out of the event. So we'll give it one last chance here, turn some more of these play-in points into more gems, pad out the gem total here on the account for some more drafts and sealeds later. So without further ado, let's bust open these packs, see what we get to play with today. All right, these are some awkward rares for sure. So we're going to be pretty reliant on our commons and uncommons. If our green and our blue are pretty good, Coma is pretty hard to beat, but it is 7 mana, so you need to have some really good green and blue stuff for playing towards the long game, ideally. And if we do that, we can play the Archmage for some good card draw. Preposterous Proportions is a fine finisher as well. Not a huge fan of any of these multicolored cards. They're all okay in their 2-color pairs. But not massive reasons to go there. And then like the Seer Slicer Goblin's okay, but Slagstorm is not great. Pretty mediocre rares overall. There's some power in there, but it's power you really have to work for, so none of like the great monocolored rares or anything like that. Check out our commons and uncommons now, starting with our colorless for our mana fixing. We have 2 Gold Vein pick to keep in mind. If we have some cheap evasive threats, that is a way to spend out a bunch of treasure tokens throughout the game. The other colorless cards are pretty much all unplayable, except maybe a Meteor Golem in a slower deck. For fixing, we have 1 Blossoming Sands, 1 Dismal Backwater, outside of the Gold Vein picks. For multicolored spells, attach Yova in green-blue as well. Can be quite nice and sealed, just drawing you a card every time you play a land. Stacks up for a lot of card draw. The Good Fortune Unicorn's okay, Anthem's okay. And then Empyrean Eagle is pretty great in blue-white. This is probably my favorite of our multicolored cards outside of maybe Coma. I just think blue-white flyers is a really strong archetype in this format, but especially if you can get enough flyers and sealed to do it, because it is hard to beat those evasive threats. Most decks end up with a pretty low removal count. So some solid multicolored stuff, but nothing that really pushes me in a specific direction. Should be pretty easy to just play our 2 strongest colors in the sealed pool, and white immediately looks like it's going to be one of them. We have a decent curve here. We have a lot of removal with triple Luminous Rebuke, which is pretty great. The Guarded Air is consistently great and sealed. 6 mana is a lot, but this completely reestablishes a whole board state for you. A 1/1 and 2 3/3s. Just a lot of stats there. Cat Collector is an incredible card. By itself, you're guaranteed to get that 1 cat token by eating the food, but if you have a lifelinker like a Felidar Savior or a Sunblessed Healer afterwards, then you can get even more cats out of it, so that's pretty great. Sunblessed Healer is awesome in any deck with a bunch of mana value 2 or less permanents, so we'll need a secondary color with more than just Cathar Commandos, but pretty big fan of our white here overall. The biggest thing that I like is triple Luminous Rebuke. That is immediately as much removal as we had in our entire deck last time, almost in our entire sealed pool, and that's in white alone. So blue, if we want to play the blue bombs, then I guess we do this. If we really want to play Coma, because it's a Sailor, some duos, and an Archmage. The Refute's pretty good. The rest is quite filler, except maybe Uncharted Voyage. So like Voyage, Refute, Archmage, duos, and Sailor are pretty great. All of these cards are quite filler, though. So blue looks just fine, just okay. Not ideal. Double Eaten Alive out of black. Big fan of that. Much like our white removal, just having a bunch of just great removal spells is awesome. And none of our other spells are filler. The 1 mana 2/2 is filler, but none of them are like bad filler. They're all okay filler at worst. And Siphoner plays well with the life gain stuff. Vampire Nighthawk plays well with the life gain stuff. I don't mind a black-white deck here. Soul Shackle Zombie playing well with black-white as well. Tragic Banshee just has a great enter effect if you get a morbid trigger on it. So yeah, great removal. Great flyer with the Vampire Nighthawk. and some good interaction with the Tragic Banshee as well, a Fake Your Own Death to protect something. Black looks super solid. There's not a single unplayable card in this color. So white is my favorite, black is my second favorite from what we've seen. Now we have red, which has a Burst Lightning. It's also got Incinerating Blasts, which aren't great, but we've been so low on removal before, they're worth mentioning. Dragon Trainer's excellent at the top of the curve. Battlesong Berserker's pretty great, 4 mana. Red's actually got a lot going for it. Burst Lightning, Dragon Trainer, Berserker being huge, huge deals. The Seer Slicer Goblin as well is a huge deal. Cerberus is fine. Borders is fine. Scourge is fine. Red's actually pretty good. This might be better than our black. It probably is. I just personally like black a lot. I don't know. Nighthawk, Banshee, Double Eaten Alive are wild cards. And none of these are bad filler. In red, we have some wild cards again. But then we have some bad filler. Like, I think these are the cards that classifies like these are pretty wild cards. Like really strong stuff. But then there's some bad filler in here. It's really not a lot of bad filler though. Like Cerberus is good filler, Scourge is good filler, Borders is good filler. Yeah, no, red is probably marginally better than our black. They're both really good though. Our white's really nice. Last and least is green. Low quantity of cards. There's one piece of ramp trying to play Coma. But I think looking at our best colors, it is some combination of Mardu, red, white, and black. So were there any multicolored cards in those three colors to push me in that direction? No, there were literally none. No red, white, or black multicolored spells. So that is not going to be the deal breaker for us. It's just which looks best, what synergizes best in Mardu. So take a look at our black-white first. Black-white's very similar, or sorry, white is very similar to our black, where there's literally nothing I want to cut. Like, all the white cards are fine. Maybe Claws Out is the one cut for this deck. But we also have a pretty high creature count here. So Claws Out might be okay. Yeah, 17 creatures. How many cats? 3 cats. Would not be a horrible Claws Out deck, but I imagine Fake Your Own Death is just more consistent generally. And it's the best cut here out of everything. We've got a good creature count for Sunblessed Healer. I like that a lot. This black-white deck looks really reasonable. 5 removal spells. Very solid curve. The Felidar Savior's looking incredible. Sunblessed Healer looking pretty good with these 6 cards it can pick up. Tragic Banshee's great. Guarded Air's great. Black-white looks awesome. What about Boros? So Boros, I would not want to play Hidetsugu's Second Right. I would definitely not want to play Slagstorm. I would not want to play Bolt Wave. That's 4 cuts. I need to do 8 cuts here because I have so many red cards. A lot of 3 drops, maybe like the Goblin Surprise, the Whelp. 2 drops to cut because I've got a lot of those as well. Archer for sure. We don't have a ton of non-creatures here. Maybe Cavalries or maybe the Blast. I mean, there's a lot more red spells than there are black spells, but there's just so much like mediocre filler in red as a color in this format in general, like the double Axe Guard Cavalry, the Scourge, the Borders. I'm still more excited about the black-white deck than this red-white one, but this is certainly playable. This is a reasonable deck to take it. It's probably just as strong. I don't think it is stronger than our black-white deck, though, so I'm not going to go for Boros personally. And then we haven't checked black-red yet. Would this be better than black-white? Got to cut 6 cards here. 3, 4, 5, something like that. Try to cheese out Goblin Surprise victories. Seer Slicer, the one huge reason to play red. I mean, it is a little embarrassing that the black-white deck literally just builds itself, and I don't have to make any decisions about what I play in it. But I just look at this deck, and it just looks good. Like, it just looks better than the Seer Slicer kind of deck. Whatever way I want to build it. I guess that's 6 cuts right there. Like, this is fine. But it's just got some real filler in it. Whereas the worst our black-white has is still good filler, I would say. Like cards like Gutless Plunderer are really nice and sealed for just digging through clumps. Honestly, the most filler card in here is like Diregraph Ghoul, but I like Cathar Commando and sealed. Main deckable artifact enchantment removal. Hungry Ghoul doesn't have the most synergies here, so it's just good filler. It's not a great card. It's got 5 removal spells here, and all 5 of these removal spells are incredible, instead of in red, where a couple of them are Incinerating Blasts. There's one Burst Lightning in red, though. That's nice. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this shield pool is any combination of Mardu looking great here. But my favorite out of those combinations, kind of in general, but definitely out of the sealed pool, is just going for the Orzhov deck again here, going for some black-white nonsense. So that is what I shall do. I'm going to go ahead and call it a deck here, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. All right, here we are on the play for game 1. Hand's a little awkward, but it has both of our colors, which is great. I'm just going to have to run out this as a 2-mana 3/1 lifelinker here. Ooh, okay, no longer have to do that. We drew into a Cathar Commando, which is awesome. We are a 17 creature deck with some cat token production, so I decided to just run the Claws out as a 41st card because I am lazy and did not want to decide what to cut, but did think that the Claws out would be good here. If I did cut a card for it, it would probably just be a land and go for a 16 land build here. Got a lot of 4-mana cards for a 16 land deck, but I still think it would be reasonable. Alright, let's fake our own death here, and that's going to give us the second white source to cast Claws out whenever we need to do that. Or we'll just hit for 6, that's fine too. Rebuke the Ranger, if need be. Gain a bunch of life off this. Scoos. That's a massive issue. This thing gets incredibly big and gains a ton of life while doing it. Man, if I could Rebuke in response, that'd be so sick, but that's 5 mana. So there goes the thing. Okay. I really don't love... Oh wait, no, I've got 5 lands out. Never mind. I was going to say, I really don't love cracking the treasure and not having the second white for Claws out later to go for a Luminous Rebuke here. But I think in this position it's best just getting rid of a Scavenging Ooze. But we didn't even have to do that. Okay, I'd rather keep the Eaten alive to be able to exile stuff than the Luminous Rebuke. That could be wrong. There's a benefit to being able to cast it at instant speed, and also a benefit to being able to exile. Oof. Yep, this is why Guarded Air is so good and we are so happy to run it. It is devastating in positions like this. Our Eaten Alive is terrible against that card. Man, we don't have any discard to draw on this deck, do we? Double checking, double checking. Yeah, no Macabre Waltz or anything. Yeah, play this out. Alright, time for Guarded Air to just stabilize them. Super hard. Alright, well, we're gonna eat that alive. It's exactly the kind of game where Claws Out is incredibly mediocre. I just figured this deck has a lot of cat productions. This might be a deck for Claws Out. But now I just feel like I'm down a card for running it. I might cut this going into the next game. That's a little results-oriented, but what can you do? It's pretty horrible, this game. Oh, they hit their own cat collector before we did, and that is a nightmare. They have 5 blockers now. The guarded air for the lifelink every turn with cat collector as well. I wouldn't have attacked in if I knew they were about to drop a cat collector, because then trading Cathar Commando for guarded air would be worth it just to... Or trading claws out for guarded air would be worth it just to stop the cat production. An absolute classic in our qualifier player events this time around. We're flooding. Tragic. That's an embarrassing claws out, but what are you going to do? Just die next turn no matter what I do, so might as well send a message and get rid of the cat collector or lifelinker. Yep, and that is massively dead. Even if I killed a 3/3 here, I would take 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and gain 2. So I would be exact lethal even if I killed the 3/3. Alright, game 2 it is. Cutting the claws out between rounds, which means game 2, get ready to see all the cat tokens all over the board. Yeah, this would be an insane hand for claws out, but we'll still keep and be pretty happy with this start. We are on the draw. This hand looks fantastic. They're just going to immediately burst lighting a Diregraph? Alright, they must have some really strong super late game cards in their hand. Or something. Yeah, or just like a monumentally slow hand. If they want to just burst lighting a 2/2 with no abilities. Because that card can certainly find better cards to kill later. Man, we have like the same hand, but they're on the play, so they're just naturally in the winning spot. Because they get to curve into their Prideful Parent Felidar Saber stuff first. They don't go for any attacks, though, which is super surprising and very advantageous for us. Because that means that we get to keep the board state in balance here for a second. Like, I think I would have had to just take the full 5 if they just sent in last turn. Alright, do whatever you're gonna do here. We're just gonna trade. Okay. Start jamming some flying damage. Never mind. Never mind the never mind. Still gonna do it. If I want to be really efficient, I can like Sunblessed Healer and sack my cat to get rid of Sarah Angel. But I think it's better to keep as many cards as possible here for a long game, because the ground is pretty sealed up by each player, so I think this will be a long game. That we don't need to try to just immediately jam for as much damage as possible. We need to get as much value as we can as possible. Sure. Second burst lighting on the Seraph. Maybe the Vampire Nighthawk gets to stick around then. Hello, Kellen. That is so funny because I don't even need to get the Morbid trigger to kill it. Just do the -1/-1. Definitely a card you have to kill once Kellen gets leveled up all the way. They're going to do some crazy stuff. 3/2 double strike, draw a bunch of cards. Slumbering Cerberus. Perforating Artist. So if they get raid triggers, they go pretty crazy. Alright, now we've both got 6 lands, but I got a bunch of stuff still left to do, and they are out of cards in hand. This feels pretty winning to me. But they could still draw into some goodies. We'll see. Okay, Courageous Goblin is just okay. It's a 3/2 menace right now, so it's not like it's awful. But I think we're still in the lead since we have the good flyer with Vampire Nighthawk. And this ground is just insanely cluttered right now. Especially with the second Felidar Savior for just really good life gain. I'll pick up a Diagraph Ghoul next turn with the healer. And just hit them 5 turns in a row with a Nighthawk. It's a way to win a game. I had an opponent kill me yesterday. This was 2 videos ago by now, I think. Just by hitting me for like 18 damage with a Nighthawk. Didn't have a counter on it or anything. I just couldn't get removal for the Nighthawk because all my removal worked pretty awkwardly against it. Okay, Katana's pretty scary there. First strike, 5/2 menace. I could still like find a double block on it. Yeah, with the Perforating Artist raid triggers, I probably actually do need to do that. But I've got the Nighthawk life gain still. Okay, well I've just got Commando for the dagger now. That feels good. That costs 3 mana. So I could Commando and Sunblessed Healer. But I'd rather Commando as a trick. And then reanimate the Commando to the Sunblessed Healer later. So I'm not going to Sunblessed Healer this turn, even though I could do both. Okay, let's first guarantee that this dagger's gone. Make sure they don't have any response to that. I don't think there is one in Mardu, but just in case there was. Let them kill my 2/2, but I gain 3. Cool. And then lose that 3 to the Perforating Artist. Hello, Guarded Air. Okay, I don't need Cathar Commando immediately, so I'll just cast the Guarded Air. And I know exactly how our opponent is feeling right now, just dying to a flyer, turn over turn over turn, 1 turn at a time. Does not feel great, but we are 1-1 now, heading into Game 3. Alright, here we are for Game 3. 3 white spells in the hand, 1 castable black spell off of just 2 swamps. Just gonna have to mull that. This is a keepable 6. Decent 6. Put a Plunderer towards the removal. Or do I just ditch the Sage here and Commando raid trigger the Plunderer? Yeah, maybe that's fine. Sanguine Siphoner. Here's our own Sanguine Siphoner. Let's bounce booties off each other. Bounce. Oh, there we go. And an Ink Mage, and I'll bounce on the attack to get Plunderer down. Take anything but a land. Yeah, I'll take Prideful Parent over a blind draw. I'm going to have to deal with that later. Let's just deal with it now. Becomes an unblockable creature once they have 7 cards in their grave. Bounce. The Siphoners are just in the mosh pit right now. Now here is Prideful Parent. I guess it's more mana efficient to go Commando plus Rebuke. But I don't know if we're going to want to Rebuke anything. If they drop a Trickster, yeah, I'll Rebuke a Trickster. But we didn't know they were going to drop a Trickster. Okay, I can still Commando Rebuke this turn. You know what? Hungry Ghoul is probably more interesting on this board than Cathar Commando is. So Hungry Ghoul, would you like to refute that? No. Okay. Please tell me that means you don't have a refute. Well, if they hit Threshold, that's a 8/8 squid coming out. And that's a problem. But if I didn't kill this 4/2 flyer, I would just die in the sky anyway. They're 1 card from Threshold. They're just going to cast an instant or sorcery, hit Threshold? Yeah. At least we can kill Kiora off of the attack, but now I need to draw a way to kill an 8/8er. We're going to die pretty fast. Yeah. Man, the ability to play the Kiora at instant speed, so I didn't get to see the attack coming, was a pretty nasty wombo combo with the High Fae Trickster. I can only sack 1 creature right now, so I can't even make Ghoul big enough to win the fight anyway, so just trade the 2/2 off. That is not the removal for the 8/8. But I can exile Kiora from their grave. So I don't have to worry about any reanimation nonsense. Man, they have enough good cards in grave. That if they have any reanimation, we're just going to die. But it's probably just Kiora and the evasive threat as the things that would kill us the absolute fastest. There's one of the best rares in the format. Every time any creature dies, they draw a card. It doesn't count tokens, luckily. So my first chump does not draw them a card. So that's nice. But everything else dying draws them a card. That is not removal. Yeah, I was going to have a bad enough time against the Kraken. I am really dead to the High Society Hunter. Is looking like our only shot is to somehow just like moderately outrace them here. Off of just some great draw. Alright, they get to draw a card off of their chomp. Watch it be a game where I could have lethaled them if I kept claws out in the deck. It'd be so funny. As a way to end it. They're going big. 16 damage on board. I have to chump somewhere. So chump the 8/8. Because if I don't block at all, they kill me by casting any instant in the game just for a prowess trigger. Alright, Siphoner dies and draws them a card no matter what, so I might as well get a +1/+1 counter off of it when they draw a card off of it. Ooh, that deck's as loaded as our deck was yesterday. High Society Hunter, Curator of Destinies. High Fae Trickster and Kiora. And the Dreadwing Scavenger, the Signpost uncommon on color as well. Okay. Yeah, their deck is literally as good as our deck yesterday was, which was just absolutely absurd. $10 damage in the sky, I'm just dead. No flyers I can pick up. Alright. Well, I'm going to give them another turn here so at least we can see if they had like another bomb to cast here. Please cast whatever was under your curator. I just want to know what it was. No, I'm not going to cast anything. All right. We'll never know what the 2 cards were under curator. If they showed me the Dreadwing Scavenger, it's got to be something really good, because Dreadwing Scavenger is insane. Yeah, that was fine. All right. 1 and 2 will be the final record for these qualifier play-in events this time around. We got to turn 60 play-in points into a good chunk of gems. What? It was 5 and 2. So let's see, 6,000. It was 7,500. 8,500 gems out of 60 play-in points. That is not bad at all. I will take that as the prize out, but it does mean we are not going to be playing the Qualifier Weekend event next weekend unless I spend some gems to try some of these some more next weekend. That is all the time I have for recording today, so I won't be doing any more of the best of 1 Qualifier Play-In Event, but maybe I'll give a chance or 2 towards the best of 3 Foundations Play-In Event. Probably not. I am quite busy for the holidays, just doing a lot of family meals and stuff most evenings, so I probably won't be able to record any Magic after work next Friday, but maybe I will. We'll have to see. That's probably it for this qualifier weekend, qualifier play-in month, but not a bad one. We got a ton of gems out of it. Had a pretty fun time. This deck was decently fun. It really did not have the on-color bomb power to make it to a potential 6-win run, so a little sad to get 1 and 2 and be out so early, but as we saw from our last opponent, that is the kind of deck that I think you have to open up to have a really good chance of getting a potential 6-win run. I think our best chance this time around was our second attempt. That deck was pretty bonkers, so we did get real close with the 5-2 on that one, but I think that was our real shot at the prizes there. But still a great weekend of Magic. Got to play a bunch of Magic Foundations to break up all of the Pioneer Masters stuff, get some variety on the channel. Had a good time with the event. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed watching it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell that YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, where I'm live about once a year. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.